Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all good. I'm Leah for those of you who are new. So for a while now I've been wanting to film a couple of little FAQ videos for you guys because I seem to get like similar questions in my DMs and in the comments and things like that. So I thought it would just be way easier to film a few videos where I like answer all of the questions. So I've been reading through like DMs and comments and things like that, and I just thought I'd come and answer the questions. So yeah, the FAQ videos will be on different topics, but obviously if you've got any questions then make sure you comment them down below and I'll be sure to add them into the videos. But before we get into the video, make sure you give it a big thumbs up and subscribe. That would really help me out, thank you. Right, so first question, how long have you been in property? So we've been in property since like August 2018, so since I was 21, a young 21, so yeah, like 2.5 years. How many properties have you got? So we have 3 HMOs, we've got a 5-bed, a 6-bed and an 8-bed, and then we've got 1 bungalow on the way that's still yet to be refurbed, so that would be like a little 2-bed bungalow. So yeah, I feel like we're still just like really getting started kind of thing, so yeah. Okay, so next question, would you do a JV? Yeah, we would definitely do a JV with someone who was more experienced than us and someone who was particularly more experienced at doing refurbs than us. So like, say for example, someone who's like created a nice little apartment block or something like that, because we are thinking about like stepping up to the next level, and I feel like doing a JV with someone else who was more experienced than us is like a better way to like step up to the next level without making mistakes and things like that. So yeah, like I guess as we're growing the business and the portfolio and things like that, like doing an apartment block is kind of in the near future. So yeah, we definitely would want a JV with someone who was more experienced than us. Okay, so what is your role in the business? So obviously finding deals, that is like, well, that's essential in the business, of course. And then I also come up with all of the like creative and interior design ideas. I mean, I'm definitely no interior designer, I'm just really winging it out here. And yeah, so coming up with like the creative vision, I guess, of what I want the inside of the properties to actually look like. And then I also do all of the branding and social media for LCM Home. Again, obviously I'm not an expert, I'm just really winging it and just doing what I need to do, I guess. But yeah, I feel like I really like push the vision of LCM Home as like a development company, and I'm kind of the one pushing and saying like, well, in a year's time I want to be here, in 3 years time I want to be there, do you know what I mean? So like, I guess I'm like pushing the vision and just trying to decide really like where we want to actually take the business kind of thing. So I don't know if that even makes sense, but I feel like I'm just like a vision pusher. Short-term and long-term investment goals. So for our short-term goals for 2021, we really want to take on an extra 24 HMO bedrooms or like 24 units kind of thing. So either we can do that with 6 4-beds, 3 8-beds or 2 12-beds. My preference would really be to do 2 12-beds because I'd rather just go through like 2 property transactions as opposed to 4. So yeah, I'm just really praying that somehow, some way we can get 2 12-beds this year, but we'll see, who knows. But yeah, essentially we just want to take on an extra 24 bedrooms, and we kind of just want to achieve what we did in the space of 18 months in the space of 12 months now. So fingers crossed for us guys, fingers crossed. And then longer term goals, so like after 2021 we really want to focus on doing big co-living developments. So these are kind of like HMOs but on like a way bigger scale, but then they have more exciting amenities, like they have like gyms or like work rooms and things like that. So yeah, we really want to get into that going forward. But then I also want to start getting into passion projects and just doing, I don't want to say developments for fun, but kind of like more exciting developments, I guess. Like I'd love to do like barn conversions and things like that. I'd love to do luxury developments, so yeah. Okay, so this next question I honestly get asked all the time, and it is, do you do property mentoring? And guys, I never ever in my life want to do property mentoring. Like I honestly really never ever will do property mentoring, like just never. Property mentoring has honestly never ever appealed to me, whether it's paid or unpaid. It's just I don't want to do it. I just don't want to do it, so yeah. Right, next question, what was your last job before property? So I was a marketing assistant in an Audi car dealership, and the job honestly was so boring, like way more boring than it sounds. I thought it was going to be like the most exciting job ever, and it was honestly awful. I was only there for literally like 3 months and it was so dull. Okay, so next question, how did you get started in property? So I always wanted to get into property from when I was about 14, just watching Homes Under the Hammer. I was like, I really want to be a property developer when I was older. And then I got to about 20 and started actually taking that a little bit more seriously. And then I would just literally watch YouTube videos, books, podcasts, all of it. I was just injecting all of this information. Like, I just couldn't get enough of it, and I was just constantly educating myself and just trying to learn as much as I could. Then I asked my mom if she wanted to get involved as well, and then she started educating herself, and then we kind of just decided to do it together. We started off with rent to serviced accommodation. That didn't work out, which I'll talk about a little bit more in this video. But then while we were doing rent to serviced accommodation, we also brought our first BRR project, and then ditched serviced accommodation, just said we want to focus on BR, and here I am. I mean, that's a really like short summary of obviously everything that happened. I do have a video that goes like into a little bit more depth than that, but yeah. But the key really is, when it comes to getting into property, is to just educate yourself. Like, there's so many resources out there now, books, podcasts, YouTube, all of it. Like, you don't have to spend an arm and a leg going to property courses. Like, there is so much cheap information out there nowadays, so you just gotta learn, man. And also, alongside getting educated, also networking. Like, I think the best thing you can do really is just like consume all of the like free resources, the books, the podcasts, videos, and all of that. And then if you've got any questions, go to a networking event, and it's like, I'm sure you'll find someone who's like a few steps ahead of you that can answer your questions. So that's what I suggest for people. But yeah, I do have another video that goes more into depth about like how to get into property if you're a beginner, so make sure you check it out. Right, so mistakes I've made and what would I do differently. Definitely 100% not rushing into serviced accommodation. Like, we really did rush into doing serviced accommodation. Like, we kind of ended up just doing it because it was the hot thing at the time, everyone was talking about it, it was like the next big thing kind of thing. But really, it didn't actually align with the reasons I got into property, like what I actually wanted to do with my life. Like, I always wanted to be a developer, I always wanted to do refurbs and things like that. So doing rent to serviced accommodation, like, that didn't really fit into what I actually wanted to do. And I kind of feel like we had to put so much energy, time, resources into doing the serviced accommodation business. It was taken away from like what I actually wanted to do, like property development. So yeah. And I also feel like at the time we got into it, there was almost like such a buzz around serviced accommodation. Like, no one was actually talking about the negatives of it. So we were kind of just like not hearing it, or we were kind of only seeing the positive sides. Because I don't know, I do think that people were like less transparent back in the day, and like they didn't want to share the negatives, so they weren't talking about like the parties and how much time serviced accommodation would take and things like that. So yeah, it was kind of like we almost didn't know what we were actually walking into, if I'm honest, because we were thinking like, no, it's like a really great strategy, like a lot of people do it, it's really good, it's all positive. But then deep down it was like, what is this? Like, yeah. But with all that being said, like, I am actually glad that we went through all of that, because I just feel like in terms of like day-to-day management of tenants and things like that, Lord knows it will never ever be as stressful as serviced accommodation. Like, we always used to say, and I don't know if I've said on my channel before, but like when you just think about the turnover of people that like are in your serviced accommodation property compared to say like a HMO or a single let, it is a lot of people generally for serviced accommodation. So obviously you're gonna have issues, obviously they're gonna have complaints and things like that. And I just kind of think, because we have such like a low turnover of tenants at the minute, like life is literally just so calm compared to serviced accommodation. So yeah. And also with serviced accommodation, it is kind of like running a hotel. So like you need to operate at like a high level of service, otherwise they're just going to drag you on like booking.com, Airbnb and things like that. So obviously you have to operate at like a really high level, and we'd always try and do our best and things like that. And I feel like we kind of carried on that standard and that level of service into our HMOs. So like when people are like, oh, you're such good landlords and things like that, it's like, yeah, because we had to do stuff like this for serviced accommodation, like that's where we kind of learnt it from in a way. So I do kind of feel like serviced accommodation like forced us to operate like on a level kind of thing, and we're just used to operating at very high standards. So yeah. Okay, so another thing, I don't know if this is like a mistake or just something that in hindsight I wouldn't do again kind of thing. And I do feel like I left my job like a little bit too quickly. Like as soon as we got like the keys to our first SA property, I was just like, I'm not doing this job anymore. And obviously I wouldn't encourage other people to do that, because it kind of is a lot of pressure, and then it kind of means that you have to start taking a salary from the business like straight away. So I'd say, you know, have a bit of savings behind you, things like that, because yeah, I still had like rent and bills to pay, and like it kind of just meant that the business had to work, which I guess you could see it two ways. It's either like the pressure makes you work harder, or the pressure is stressful kind of thing. So yeah, I mean, it did all work out in the end, and I do feel like at the time I couldn't have done both, like working and doing the serviced accommodation business, but yeah, I do feel like it would have been ideal to hold on to that like secure income for a little bit longer, but here we are like 2.5 years later and I still have never had to go back, so I guess it's not all bad. In terms of other mistakes we made, I would say like for our first renovation projects, like I think we kind of like were a bit shy and we didn't want to do like crazy feature walls or anything like that, so the property kind of looks a bit plain compared to the other ones. But I was actually thinking the other day, like maybe if the girls start moving out then we can put like a cool feature wall in there or something kind of thing. But yeah, kind of feel like the first property is a bit plain compared to the other ones, so yeah. Right, so advice I'd give myself knowing what I know now. So I definitely tell myself not to get into rent to rent and just go straight on to buy-in and straight on to doing development. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with rent to rent, obviously. I'm not knocking it as a model or anything like that. And obviously I know that there's people with successful rent to rent businesses, but for me, I just feel like long term, owning the property outright is just way better. You can benefit from capital appreciation and things like that. And I actually feel like it was kind of like, it was actually unnecessary in our journey. Like we didn't need to do rent to rent. So yeah, I wouldn't have bothered, so. Yeah, that's just me, but that's just my opinion. There's nothing wrong with rent to rent. I'm not slagging off the whole strategy. We just didn't need to do it. Next question, have you had any personal challenges while on your property journey? Yeah, definitely. Like, I feel like at times I do get lonely. Like, I think because I live on my own as well, and then obviously just work on my own kind of thing, it's very lonely. Like I feel like I don't have people to like talk to all the time. I guess that's the only good thing, well not the only good thing, but like that's one good thing about doing like a 9-to-5 job or like working in an actual workplace with other people, is that there is other employees there that you can like make friends with and things like that. Like when I did my placement year, like I did actually make some really good friends there. So yeah, I guess I do miss that like social aspect and going for like Friday night drinks with the team and things like that. Like you just don't have that, do you? So yeah. And then another thing is that I feel like me and mum started the business because we kind of wanted to have like a lifestyle business in a way. So we don't want it to be something that we have to like work on every single day. Like we basically wanted property to allow us to have time in our life to do other things, but baby girl's a little bit lost and I'm like, well, what else do I actually want to do with my life kind of thing. Like I just don't actually know. So yeah, I'm trying to still like figure out like what I actually want to do with my time, and I guess I'm just trying to find out like what I'm actually passionate about and like what I actually want to do. Do you know what I mean? Like what I actually want to do that's bigger kind of thing. So yeah, the struggle's real, but I'm still young, so I'm sure it'll come. So next question, what do you do when you're not doing property stuff? So obviously if we weren't in lockdown, I'd be going out for drinks, going out for food, relaxing, chilling, seeing my friends, all of that, going to the gym. Have to go to the gym every day, otherwise I just feel weird. Sorry, my dog has had to get involved. But yeah, like I guess last year as well, I was doing like 2 YouTube videos a week. So like all the editing and filming for that would have taken like up most of my time. So yeah, and obviously now I am a mother to this crazy dog, so he takes up my time as well. Okay, so last question, what does LCM stand for? So if you don't know, my business is called LCM HOME, and LCM is actually my initials, and my middle name is Colette. I can't believe I just told everyone that, but yeah, my middle name is Colette. So yeah, and actually it's really cute because the dog has the same initials as me, just to throw that in since he's on my lap. But yeah, so guys, that is it for the first Q&A. If you've got any other questions, it can literally be about anything, I don't mind. Make sure you comment them down below. But if you enjoyed the video, make sure you give it a big thumbs up and subscribe. That would really help me out. But thank you so much for watching, really appreciate it as always, and I'll see you next time. Bye.